All right, welcome to today's Solidworks lesson. Today we're going to be focusing on assemblies. But before we get there, what we're going to do is kind of finish off our kitchen themed or dining room themed set of parts. So what I'm going to have you all do is create a table. So this can be any kind of table that you want, but in order to have something to assemble with our glasses and our chair, then we want to have a table for it to interact with. This will be the first thing I'm asking you to do kind of on your own. Go ahead and give it a try. And when you are done, come back here and you can watch how I make my table real quick. So I am starting with a new Solidworks part, file, new part, and then as usual, I'm going to go into my top plane. Now, I am going to make a table that looks kind of like this. Oops, hold on, I forgot to flip this for you guys. There we go. So I am going to make a table for you guys that looks kind of like this, kind of like your classic diner style circular top with a pull coming down and then a bit of kind of like a tapered circular base. Okay, so I'm going to start with this tapered circular base and then build up from there. Okay, so let's go back over to SolidWorks, and it doesn't matter if you did something else, that's totally fine. In fact, it's good. Get creative, make something of your own. So I'm going to start by making this base here. Now let's see, the base of my table is going to be, let's see, I think they're usually pretty big, so I'll do like a 2-foot base, and this is giving me diameter, so I want 24 inches. And then what I'm going to do next is I will exit this, and then I'm going to select my top plane, go to features, reference plane, and then let's see, I'm going to make this kind of tapered part of my table like 6 inches. So I'm going to offset that plane by 6 inches, set it to go, and then I'm going to make my second circle, again centered on the origin. You want to do that whenever you can. And then I'm going to taper this up to the size of my pole, and I think my pole will probably, let's make it 6 inches across. So I'm going to smart dimension this so that it is 6 inches across, and as usual, I haven't actually practiced this, so this might end up looking really weird, but you know what? We're trying. It'll be good. So now I'm going to go over to features. I'm going to do a lofted boss base for this. So I'm going to choose this and this. Oh, look at that. That does look pretty table-y so far. Cool. Great. So now we've got the base of our table, and then from here, I am going to use this sketch and do an extruded boss base from there. So I'm using a sketch I've already made. Let's make this, how tall is the table? Maybe like 3 feet? Which is 36 inches. Let's see how that looks. Cool, again, table-y. I like it. Great. And then from here on this plane, I am going to do another sketch. Here we go. How big is a tabletop? Let's see. If it's 3 feet tall, then maybe like 4 feet wide? I don't know. I don't know how many people this table is going to sit or anything like that. So that would be, what, 48 inches? Cool. Yeah, well, I don't know. That looks a little small. Let's do 56. Is that another 12? 12, it'd be 60. Oh yeah, that looks more table-y to me. Then I'm going to extrude that like an inch. Definitely not a 36. Well, that looks a little small. Maybe like a 2-inch tabletop. Yeah, that looks a little bit nicer. Cool. So this is my table. I like it. I think it looks good. I think, yeah, my base maybe looks a little bit small. So I can always go back here and I can edit that and I can be like, oh, let's see, I actually want that to be like 36 inches. But then you get that thing where your chair runs into the base of the table, which is really annoying, but it does look a little bit more proportional. Now, something we haven't gone over is naming your sketches. This is super useful and something you should definitely do so that as your designs get more and more complex, you don't lose track of things. So for example, I can rename this, instead of Loft 1, I can call it like lofted base, sure. And then this thing right here, I can rename it like pole. And then this thing I can rename tabletop. And as you get more and more complex designs, this is something that can definitely be useful. Another thing that I haven't talked about is the ability to roll back your design. What this means is if I go here to this blue line, I can pull up, and now I don't have my tabletop. So for example, if I wanted to make a change to my pole without kind of affecting my tabletop or without dealing with my tabletop. So say that I've done something weird. Let's see. So say I've edited this feature to be like 32 inches or something like that. And I want to just see what that looks like without the tabletop on there. I can roll that back. And then my tabletop is just going to attach to it just like it was. But it's particularly helpful if you have an issue with your design. Sometimes you'll get things being like, uh-oh, like that's broken. So for example, if I were to delete this pole. So it's going to ask me if I want to delete this. I'm going to say yes. Oh wait, no, that doesn't work because I reused that sketch. Okay, hold on, I undid that. Let's say we delete this, our lofted boss base. I don't know if this will work though because, yeah, okay, so now everything kind of goes, no, I can't get this to this, no. Sometimes you will get an error and it will be like, hey, like none of this stuff works, like can't rebuild your item. And what I would recommend doing is it'll have like a little error message here. And tell you which thing has the issue. I would recommend kind of like rolling back to whatever place that is so that you can fix things from there and then kind of go down one thing and then fix things that come up there rather than trying to fix it all at once because things get very, very messy sometimes if something has gone wrong. Sorry that I can't come up with a good issue. Actually, what happens if I delete this plane? No, everything is... there we go. I don't want to delete my child features, that's why. Okay, cool. So now what I'm getting, let's see if this will come up, as I'm getting this error message. One day I will get screen capture to work instead of just window capture. So I get this. So it's saying featured sketch 2 has a warning which may cause subsequent features to fail. Basically like, something's wrong. So you can continue to ignore error and it'll give you more error message, or you can hit stop and repair. I'll usually go for stop and repair and it's like, oh, here we go. Now we've got this little error thing here. And we have this window that tells us what the issue is. The plane used by the sketch is missing and cannot be accessed. You can use command edit sketch plane to add a reference plane for this sketch. So do you see how the rollback bar has moved up to this lofted boss base? So we've got this rollback bar here. So we want to go in here and fix this issue. So we can see that the issue is with sketch 2. If you look down here, and we know it doesn't have a sketch plane. So what I can do is I can edit this sketch plane and give it a sketch plane. Right now I don't have a sketch plane at all, so what I have to do is I would have to remake that plane. Oh, actually let's do it while I'm selected on that top plane. So again, I'm going to make it 6 inches up. So now I have this plane again, and then automatically kind of like things start to look a little bit better. But what I want to do is I want to edit sketch plane, and I want to make it so it's not the missing plane, but let's make sure that plane is visible. So I'm going to click here, and then try to edit sketch plane. It is of course not going to make this easy on me. Sorry, as usual, I probably show way more bloopers than are completely necessary, but I think it is important. To see what to do when you don't know what to do. So I want to edit this sketch plane. I want to set it to that sketch plane, but it won't let me do it because I can't see my sketch plane once it goes into here. And I can't just type it in. Alright, well, this is misbehaving right now, but you get the idea. So now you get all these things, and what you would do is kind of like fix the error. And in this case, you know, one thing that is an option is you can literally just delete this sketch. Or maybe make a new sketch on this plane. Cool, and I'm going going to set that to 6 inches just like I did before. I actually drew it right on the other one, so it should be just fine. Plane used by this sketch is missing and can't be accessed. Yeah, so that's I'm getting still the old error. And then what I can go do is go into I'm going to just delete this feature, and then, oh, why does it say sketch 4 is using, oh, okay, I see. Yeah, so I did it on the surface. See, this is what can happen, is like things get messy with planes and stuff. Great, so I want this to be on plane 2, which is totally there. Roll back to feature. Right click this bar and choose roll to end. Is missing, cannot be accessed. Okay, so actually what it doesn't like about this is that I have references to a sketch that is no longer there. So I'm going to, oops, am I in this sketch? No, I'm not. So I will edit this sketch. And then I'm going to look here and see if I have any, there we go. So that coincident is not happening. So now I should be able to like freely move this. So I'm going to set this to the center point here. There we go. So it can take some work to figure out these errors sometimes. And it's still saying that I have an error with Sketch 2, but I don't have it. Oh, you know what? Because Poll was relying on Sketch 2, the one I deleted, as well. Okay. So now let's go here and here, and then we will make this a lofted boss base. Woo! Okay, cool. So now this part is fixed. Then we're going down to here, and now this is relying on Sketch 2, which, one, only kind of still exists, but 2 is giving us some major issues. So let's go into here and we'll edit the sketch plane, and now, again, edit sketch plane is not working for me today. So now what I'm going to do is, instead of making this rely on sketch 2, let's edit this, edit feature, and let's add a reference plane for this sketch. I don't know why it's making all my planes disappear though. Yeah, this is super interesting actually. I meant for this to be about how to use assemblies, but this is really just about how to deal with errors in tables. So, alright. This is super interesting. Yeah, so I mean, one thing I can do is delete. Yeah, it does not like to let me delete a thing. So I can go here, I can delete this feature. Yep. And then I can delete this sketch as well. There's definitely a better way to do this, but I can't think of it off the top of my head, honestly. So now I'm going to build this based on this plane. Yeah, something's going funky today. I don't know why. See, even my little clicker looks funny. I don't know why it's set to like this filter thing. Okay. So, I want to sketch. In fact, I want a circle. And I want my circle to be on this plane. Goodness gracious. It's like plane 2 only kind of exists. Clearly something went a little bit. There we go. Okay, cool. So now I'm setting this up, and then I can turn this back into an extruded boss base. Realistically, you should be able to do this without having to delete your entire thing, but that is not what happened today. Okay, now I've fixed that, and then go back down to here. So take a minute, look up how to do the actual sketch replace thing. I don't quite know why that is happening. Okay, tabletop is angry as well, and that's because this needs to be on, here we go. Okay, something, I took off a button and now it's letting me change faces more easily. Okay, so now I'm getting a thing that this sketch contains things that are related. Okay, so because I keep deleting things, then I keep getting more different errors. So let's check this circle. So now it's saying it's coincident to a circle is no longer there because I changed my sketch. Right, so you can see how this all kind of adds up really quickly. Like little changes, especially when you're using all these relations that make your life easier, can end up making things more complicated when you're trying to, like if something goes wrong. But as you get better and better, then these things will be easier. I am thinking that part of the reason I was having issues is because I had some kind of filter on my clicker. So ideally you should be able to just replace the plane, which is something I wasn't able to do today. Alright, so this is my table, and in my next video I'm going to show you how to make an assembly out of all the things we've made so far.